Okay, let's see what we got here. Lenny, tingnan nga kung sino dala mo.
Excellent. Wow. Dapper, suave, truly respectable, matutuwang kliyente. Lenny, congratulations. All right, we'll go through rehearsals. Clear the set. Come on, come on.
As a director, how do you execute your narrative? Do you use a linear structure which reveals the story in chronological order? Or do you dare to use a nonlinear structure of narrating, which includes a bit of flashbacks or illusions? Either way, it is undeniable that with the existence of countless films that were ever produced, the terms original theme or original narrative is almost non-existent. It is always a challenge of how a particular director could break a usual narrative by incorporating his own ways and techniques. It is always a question of how they could break countless of conventional narratives and make it seem like a brand new idea. With the growth of Philippine cinema and its ability to gain a wide reach to audiences, it is undeniable that conventions gradually began to coexist with its growth. These conventions are not only visible in a particular genre, but in numerous genres as well. The existence of structure in films began with the excessive use of techniques and codes over and over. The term structuralism had evolved between the late 1940s to 1968, and one of its proponents is Ferdinand de Saussure, a Swiss linguist. Structuralism first took place in France. It is a movement wherein it criticizes how the system of words works and how it could produce meaning. This theory was first applied in linguistics. However, as time evolved, it started to be applied in different kinds of disciplines as well. In this case, in film. It is a theory which suggests that film can be categorized by its existing elements or codes. And in today's generation of film enthusiasts, it seems like two genres are well supported by the Filipino audiences. These are romantic comedy and horror genres. Categorizing film is already a form of an existing structure. But behind those genres hides a much definite technique or common resemblance that can be perceived to be exclusive in each. Genres can even be easily identified with its posters. Film posters always had recognizable similarities. The light, colors, and protagonists wearing a smile is a common phase of romance comedy genre. These are evident in some films like A Very Special Love, which was directed by Kathy Garcia Molina. Meanwhile, the category of horror genre incorporates a dark complexion. It normally includes dark red shades, and the protagonist wears an expression which denotes terror. These are evident through popular film series called Shake, Rattle, and Roll. These are just some examples of conventions which prevails and can be spotted on only just the film posters. It can easily be perceived that a film always includes binaries. This is important as it serves as the basis of the plot. It is expected to where the narrative would begin. In romance comedy, there are existing binaries that seem to be exclusive only to the said genre. One of those is the concept of man versus woman, evident in a film called My X and Y's, wherein the man, Gio, was characterized as the strong one and the woman as the weak one in this scene. A rich and poor concept can even be perceived as the leading theme that was also overly utilized in the genre.
Who are you?
Laida Magdalas po. Nag-a-apply na editorial assistant.
You're hired.
These romance comedy films are usually narrated using a linear narrative, wherein there is an Act 1 where the natural state of the film was introduced, Act 2 wherein conflict dominates, and Act 3 wherein a resolution was made. However, a popular mainstream director, Kathy Garcia Molina, had included signifiers that seemed to be a structure that was formed among her films. In almost all of her films, a character's wig has always signified either a state of conflict or an introduction of a new equilibrium. Her films even end with similar endings, showing hope for the future of their relationship.
Ano pang hinihintay mo? Ano? Yakapin mo na ako! Miggy Montenegro!
But I am now choosing to trust you. To trust myself. To trust love. Because your love is the only dahil I need.
Hindi ka na ba aalis ulit?
Hindi na.
While in horror films, a common concept will always be a struggle between a man and a supernatural creature, or good versus evil. During the holidays, the time for the Metro Manila Film Festival, the countless production of films has set their formula as to what works with the audiences. The Philippine cinema is no stranger to horror films and clearly follows the three-part formula of the horror paradigm. First, the character encounters the threat.
Billy, nagkakaintindihan na tayo, di ba? Yan, yung mga ganyang klaseng kwento, yan ang ayoko. Lalo na pag si Dento nung kinukwentohan mo ng ganyan. Hindi naman...
Mukbong katihan ng Pilipinas, always outnumbered, never output!
Pagkano nyo?
We then see the character struggle with this threat.
Ito. Baka mo to.
Roll call, Maximo Ornedo! Sir! Yes, sir! Joaquin Gallego! Sir! Yes, sir! Blas Rugado! Sir! Yes, sir!
Sir,
Hilario!
huwag mo
Tabio!
nang antayin maging halimaw ako. Patay mo na ako kagad.
Bas Huguet!
And the escape.
Nagsisisi akong naniwala pa ako sa swerte.
But there's a culture around the horror genre where the film sneaks in at the very last second, the twist.
Kasama kami sa aksidente kanina, Joy. Kasama kami sa mga nasaway.
Mga halimaw yung mga yan!
Sir, wala pong halimaw dito. Mga kasama niya sila.
Mga halimaw yung mga yan! Unti-untiin nila tayo!
Indeed, the existence of recurrent codes was the primary reason for the visibility of structuralism. It helps spectators to recognize genres and help them realize what is to expect even before going into theaters. Directors may have begun to experiment and produce their own codes that can easily be recognized in their films. And truly, it helps them gain an identity within the industry. Structures are not totally terrible. In fact, it serves as a beginner's guide for filmmakers. But at some point, isn't it essential to break the norm and be a little creative? Anyhow, structuralism is much visible in the current film industry as the conventions make it easier to be patronized by the spectators. After all, the film industry is still a business.